good evening. My name is Maciej Misztal and I'm director of Lublin Film Festival. And today I'm talking with George Georgakopoulos and his movie Iphigenia No More Tears. Hello, George, how are you in these hard COVID times?
Hi, Maciej. I'm trying to have time pass as usual as I can. It's a difficult condition here as in all of Europe, and we're just waiting for things to get better.
Mm. So, all right. I would like to ask you a few questions about your movie because um, it is for me it's very interesting. It's untypical movie. It doesn't have has a classic plot. I see here theater of the absurd. I see some Greek mythology, and I see psychoanalysis theory. So maybe the first question will be about your inspirations during thinking about this movie.
Yes. As you said, most of the experience is what you said. I was very amazed when I met the Theatre of Absurd. I didn't have an idea, and I saw a play of UNESCO, and I was amazed, and I didn't know this could happen in theater. You know, something not so solid about storytelling, the way it's told. And I started thinking, why isn't this so common in cinema, and how it would be making something like that in cinema. And that's where I tried to make a structure like this. Another thing is, as you said, Greek mythology, Iphigenia is a heroine that was sacrificed, and in the movie Iphigenia No More Tears, it talks about a sacrifice, eternal sacrifice of someone of losing his or her child self, and so I try to mix these things. And,
ένας τυπικός έλεγχος δυσανεξίας.
That's what came out.
Μια χαρά. Τι κάνουμε?
Μια χαρά. Ευχαριστούμε πολύ, δεν μας ενδιαφέρει. Παρακαλώ, φύγετε.
Δεν καταλάβατε. Ο έλεγχος είναι...
And in fact, it's great. I love your movie. I have to admit that after the first watching it, I had to think a lot about it. That I felt that it is very symbolic and very complex. So it is not an easy movie. You know, you have to think a lot about this because there is so many ways of thinking about this, and it is the theater of the absurd, but I think that it's very connected with reality. What can you say about this? About your thinking about world connected with this movie?
Yes, it sure has a link with reality. The main idea came from seeing different things happening. I used to work in weddings as a video operator. I went to weddings where the bride was the central thing of our day. She was very happy. And after a couple of years, I went to the same family on other occasion. And it was like she had lost all the, all the happiness, and she has come something with the environment of a family. She has gone inside. So it made me, question myself, what happened to her? How come she became like this? She was so happy. People loved her. The family opened their arms and to make her a member of their family. And I tried to see what happened under what circumstances these things happen, and that's how I began to think about the plot.
So it's based on real history. We can say that
It's not a
inspired
real
by
story, but it's it has a lot of things that I have lived. I have seen and I have thought about.
Yes, because we have a huge family here, huge family
Yes.
meeting, and some kind of typical persons in family. I think that, for example, the figure of an uncle who is, some kind of kinky guy who jokes only about sex, and we in
Yes.
Poland we joke that that in every family is some kind of uncle who is like this, and how it looks in Greece.
Yes.
It's normal, yeah.
Yes, it's normal. That's why it takes place. But it's funny that in Poland you have the same thing. I didn't expect that would happen.
Yes, for me, I realized that there are some other countries, other cultures, but the uncles are the same in every country. Quite interesting.
Yes. And in Greece, the gatherings are with a lot of members of a family.
Η πόρτα της καρδιάς ανοίγει πάντα από μέσα.
Ισχύει! Καλύτερα να μετανιώσεις για κάτι που έκανες παρά για κάτι που δεν έκανες.
Μια μέρα θα το θυμόμαστε και θα γελάμε.
Σωστό!
Στο κάτω-κάτω.
Maybe more talk about more about this the main roles about Iphigenias, because we have two Iphigenias here. So it's young Iphigenia and adult Iphigenia. And what was your concept of this person in two way of thinking?
Yes. It was the main concept was having the two Iphigenias. Iphigenia, the adult Iphigenia goes to her future husband's house, and she thinks she has to live outside or give as a gift a little girl, which is more childish, wants to play. The largest Iphigenia is serious. She goes to the table and says what everybody expects her to say. And I just want to. It's I think that especially for women, they're expected more than the men when they are getting married to leave their child outside and now be serious and do what we have to do. And in the scene, where the men play basketball and they don't let Iphigenia play, and she has to go to the table. This is the main concept that men can be children and play a little, but women have to do what they have to do. And it's
Yeah, for me it was very strong scene that I have strong emotions that I realized that I don't know if maybe you think that there is a natural way of how the world works, but that I don't see an optimism in this story. Yes, that all right, that Iphigenia, this adult Iphigenia, tries to play with men, but it is impossible for her because her place is with other women cleaning the table. So I know it looks like this it's very often, but do you think there is some chance to rebuild this order?
Yes, of course. I hope, I know that the film doesn't show a lot of hope, but it stops in a moment where I think Iphigenia, seeing the little Iphigenia go with the two investigators, will make her think about things. What happened, if she's happy, if what she did was right. I think that what will happen in the future is open. The door is open in the end of film, so you don't know what will happen. Maybe this thing will make her think what has been done in that day.
But in the end, she has a chance to change something. He can go with this intolerance. Yes, and but she decided not to do it. She stays with these adult people, to this society, as I read it.
Yes.
So
yes, that's what she chose. But I hope she will think in the future if what she does was right or wrong.
Oh, all right.
And I don't know, but for sure, I think that the little girl, I don't know where she's going, but she didn't have any future staying in that house, so it was the right thing to do.
And the color, because it is connected with I think with the colors in your movie. That this young Iphigenia has a red dress, and but this adult Iphigenia has to change her clothes. So how do you think about it?
When Iphigenia and the little girl go in the house, they have a red with the color. They're dressed with a red dress, which is more revolutionary, and it's different from the house. And Thanos, her boyfriend, asks Iphigenia to change so she can become, something that sets more with all the other decoration of a house. And we see that motive of her dress in a lot of places in the house afterwards. And it's like she's getting how the environment, makes you change and absorbs you and makes you something else.
Yeah, so it is very symbolic, I think, that it's she looks the same as wall around her. So
yes.
And she's a wife of Thanos. So how should I understand it? Thanos is a god of death. So it has some meaning that.
No. It's not. It's from a Greek name, Thanasis. It's not. It's just. There's nothing.
All right. So it's not. So it's not important that. All right.
The name isn't.
Αυτό που έπρεπε να σκέφτεσαι είναι πώς θα ήταν ο κόσμος αν δεν κάναμε αυτό που κάνουμε. Θα ήθελες να ζεις σε ένα τέτοιο κόσμο?
Iphigenia is some symbol of sacrifice, but it's also a symbol of a woman who doesn't have a right to decide about herself. So do you think that we can think about your movie also as a way of commentary to the situation of women in our reality?
Yes. Okay. Yes, of course. It's another thing that I want to say. That reality is very strict with women, and the choices they have to do are a lot more limited, and it's more difficult to do things or say really what they want to do.
Because we have I don't know if you heard about it, but in Poland we have huge protests in
yes, of course.
streets.
Yes,
So I think it's interesting that your movie is from it's not so up to date, but in some strange way, it's some kind of commentary also to this. It can be commentary to our reality now and here in November.
Yes.
So it is very interesting for me, and maybe talk about this intolerance audit. Because it's very interesting idea, yeah, that it is. Do you think we can talk about your movie as some kind of science fiction, that it is, like in near future we will have something like this? How do you think about it when you have written your script?
I wanted to make a story that would be which you could feel that it could happen. It's that it could be far, but not so far from what is happening in nowadays. So yes, I think in a part of it, and it can be, you can think of it as a science fiction film.
And in your movie we see some sequences, some scenes when they are looking for these things which that are connected with intolerance. So what kind of things in your way of thinking it can be?
The things that they are looking for is things that are close to child. When they go to the room, which was Thanos' child's room, they take things from his past. They look at the Viewmaster. They take some memories he has. They open his memory box and put it on the bag. So everything that could remind people or the family of a child or something different of a way they think is dangerous and has to be taken. And the thing that they want to take more is the little girl that is going on and hiding and doesn't let Iphigenia do what she has to do.
But one of these auditors tries to hide this girl, yeah? So
yes.
They're not thinking in the same way.
Yes, it's in a different way, yes. I think the second editor, the younger editor, is the only one in the film, adult in the film, that has second thoughts, that thinks that something maybe isn't going right, something is going wrong. Maybe he doesn't have to do what he is told, but he too, at the end, does his job. The older man tells him that's what we have to do. And it's like most people, they say, it's not my decision. It's orders I take. I have to do it, and he does it. And if you think about it, nobody does something wrong, but at the end, the little girl has gone. Iphigenia wants to be kind. Her husband wants her future husband wants her to have a nice impression on her family. The family tries to make her feel comfortable. But at the end, it's the things are not so good.
Η Ιφηγένεια που θέλαμε να πάμε να παίξουμε, θυμάσαι?
Ναι, θυμάμαι και σου είχα πει ότι θα είναι εδώ πέρα. Φάγαμε τον τόπο σας, λέω.
Πάμε. Έλα, Ιφ.
So I think it's very interesting start of watching a movie. It can start a really interesting conversation. So I hope that a lot of our viewers, our audience, will talk about it, because I think that we should make more things, films like this. Yes, that they are not so obvious, but they are about obvious things. So thank you for this. Thank you for your movie, and maybe maybe one more question about the future, because I know that the future now is very unpredictable. But what are your plans connected with film?
My plans is I'm, trying to make my next short film, and I'm writing for a feature film script. Things are difficult now, so I'm, more preparing things and trying to organize things, and I hope things, stop early and we begin to shoot again.
So finger crossed.
Yes, finger crossed. But okay, I think things will be better in a little, time. I would like to thank you for, selecting the film. I hope the Polish audience likes it and appreciates the film. And thank you very much for the conversation we had.
Thank you very much. It was a great conversation, and I hope that someday we will meet personally, maybe in Lublin, maybe with your next movie.
Yes, yes, I hope so.
So thank you very much, and see you in a better future.
Yes, bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.